holds, looking, finds James, takes a pass, falling away, baseline shot, side of the backboard.
It's not your fault.
James with the catch. Oh, he missed the layup.
It's not your fault.
Do it,
Shot
man.
clock at 2. James for 3. Rebound tap.
It's not your fault. All right, welcome back to the show, everybody. Hope you all are having a good day so far. So it's time to talk about it, you guys. And boy, are we going to talk about it. So get ready for the next video or two following this one. Let's go ahead and talk about everything we need to talk about, Blanco James, and let's move on with our lives. So anyways, I wanted to check in with Uncut and see what's up with him. He's got a video here titled LeBron James Gets Swept for a 4th Time. And indeed, ironically enough, like, you guys cracked me up with all those comments in my so long Blanco video that I made in the middle of the night. Great point. Yeah. First father and son duo to ever get swept in the playoffs. I love that stat. That's a hilarious stat. But the biggest takeaway I took from everything here was the press conferences. Because the press conference after he got swept, basically to him, it's nothing is a disappointment. And he also says, like, he loves the process. He's in love with the process more than he's in love with the outcomes of the process. And I mean, I think that just kind of said it all to me, you know? For anybody who was wondering, is this guy still out there trying to win? Or is he just out there just accumulating stats and dollars? I mean, I think the answer is obvious. He's telling all of us the truth. So anyways, all that being said, let's get into this, guys. I'm going to link the original video from Uncut down below in the description for you. Highly recommend checking out this channel. I will be visiting this channel again very soon. You'll see. Anyways, you guys, link is down below for you. Shout out to Uncut and shout out to channel members. I appreciate you all. Guys, like the video. Hype this one if you could. And let's get on with this.
22-11 Oklahoma City run. LeBron for 3. James against Caruso.
This was a pleasure to watch this game.
Rebound, Hartenstein. You blew it! There's the buzzer, and the Thunder have won and swept and are headed to the Western Conference Final.
The more things change, the more they stay the same.
Yep.
5.5 remaining. They're out of timeouts. James on the drive, fires a 3. Off the mark. Ilgauskas tips it. Ball knocked loose. Kevin Durant way outside. Delivers! Kevin Durant from downtown. It's a 6-point game. James comes out of the pack. James on the drive. Goes
this is one of my
inside,
favorites.
stops, shot blocked. Gets it back. It's over.
Couldn't even get the shot off. Yep. That's my guy.
When looking at the past 2 decades of NBA basketball, one trend everyone's noticed pretty routinely is LeBron James-led teams flaming out come playoff time. As looking at his career, not once, not twice, not 3 times, but 4 separate times has been gentlemen swept in the playoffs, beaten down 4 games to 1. Also in LeBron's career, 4 separate times.
Hold on. Was it okay? Yeah. So Nuggets, he didn't get the shot off. T-Wolves, if you watch the very last possession of that series, he also didn't get the shot off. He passed it off at the last second instead of getting the shot off, and no one got the shot off because, yeah, regulation ended and it was game over, series over, season over. This one, he got a shot off. You saw the clanker. He also missed an easy layup too. I mean, it is what it is.
Beaten down 4 games to 1. Also in LeBron's career, 4 separate times he's been swept 4 games to 0.
Dang, man. So one in the 2000s, another one in the 2010s, and twice in the 2020s.
07 versus the Spurs, 18 versus Golden State, 23 versus Denver, now 2026 versus the OKC Thunder. For LeBron James-led teams, when they lose, they don't just lose in 6 games, 7 games, in a hard-fought series. When these teams lose, they get beat down 4-1 or even 4-0.
That's true. When was the last time you saw a 7-game series and a LeBron team loses? They always get swept or gentlemen swept.
And looking back at that first sweep in 07 versus Spurs, I mean, that sweep is so damning, so embarrassing. You had people contemplating the elimination of the Western Conference as well as Eastern Conference. That's how bad it was and how lopsided it was on the biggest stage.
Agreed.
Take the 6 division winners, then take the teams with the 10 next best records, seed them 1 through 16, and you'll have a Phoenix-San Antonio final that would be entertaining.
Well, you could intertwine.
Yeah, I mean, back then, we all, come on. Anybody who was around at this time watching basketball, we all considered the Western Conference Finals the real NBA Finals.
The East and the West. John Hollinger of ESPN.com does a nice job on that day. However, Stern has to make sure the TV networks cooperate.
Now, when looking at LeBron's 4th career sweep, getting beat down 4-0, the LeBron James lackeys, media shills, they're going to do what they always do and defend their king.
Yeah, did you hear those weirdos? Like this, when they got out of the first round, they immediately started asking, like, what does this mean for his legacy? Did that make him the GOAT? And I'm like, what? You guys are weird, man. You get out of the first round. So, like, how low is this bar now? If I show up for 1 out of 82 games, does that make him the GOAT now? Like, how low is this bar going to go?
As look at LeBron fan logic, here's how it goes. Anything good happens to him, anything positive happens to him, that definitely counts as a part of the resume. On the flip side, anything bad happens to him, a terrible night his team loses, that does not count, not part of the resume. For LeBron fans playing this game, where it's all upside, no downside, they've been pulling this trick since the 2016 NBA Finals. And again, looking at those 4 distinct sweeps, LeBron makes every single time have an excuse, a caveat, and deflection. And looking at those series, it's the full gambit of LeBron fan excuse machine. 07 versus Spurs getting swept, what's the excuse? He's too young, blame age. 2018 got swept, what's the excuse? Not enough help, blame the teammates, the supporting cast. 2023, again got swept, what's the excuse? Anthony Davis' co-star did not show up, stop Nikola Jokic. Now 2026, gone full circle, what's the excuse? Not enough help, he's old, and his co-star isn't around. That right there for LeBron James fandom, the full circle of excuses looking at 4 distinct sweeps. And what's the one common through line? LeBron James, if he's young, in his prime, or old, it is never his fault, he's not to blame.
Reeves holds, looking, finds James, takes a pass, falling away, baseline shot, side of the backboard.
It's not your fault.
James with the catch. Oh, he missed the layup.
It's not your fault.
Do it,
Shot
man.
clock at 2. James for 3. Rebound 10.
It's not your fault.
Now, one thing I do want to hammer home, looking at LeBron's 4 sweeps, looking at all those series of sweep, was out of the question coming into the matchup. But fast forward 20 years later, 10 years later, what's the overall narrative? LeBron in those series did not have enough help, and him being swept is kind of excusable. Look at 07 versus Spurs.
The irony is when he was young, everyone said, like Cut said, he was too young, that's why it happened. Now he's old. All right? Now he's the most experienced fool on that basketball court, but you're still making excuses for the guy. Weird, man. Weird. Also, before I forget to mention, for those who watched the game live, did you guys notice JJ Redick's play call for the very last shot of the game? It was Austin Reeves. Didn't go in, but that was when I saw where I was like, yep, we know what the future is for this team.
4 expert pickers. 2 of those guys, Spurs in 5, a Spurs in 6, and a Spurs in 7. Looking at these so-called experts, what nobody saw coming was an outright sweep. So yes, Cleveland lost, but in the process, we're embarrassed more than anyone could imagine. Now look at 2018 versus the Warriors, 24 expert picks. Out of the 24, only 1 of the 24 had Golden State in 4. 15 of the pickers had Golden State in 5, 6 Golden State in 6, and 2 said it would go 7. Again, look at the sentiment coming into the series. Nobody really expected a sweep, an embarrassing display on the biggest stage.
A narrow victory.
Now, don't get me wrong. I fully expected OKC to beat the Lakers, but it's one of those situations where, like, can you guys at least win one game? You know, like, can LeBron win one game?
Game 3, total domination. Here in Game 4.
A few moments later.
I let the emotions get the best of me, and
pretty much played the last 3 games with a broken hand.
Yeah, yeah, got to fake an injury.
James up and under, throws it off the backboard. Oh, what a
I was wrong, by the way. I thought he was going to fake some kind of injury towards the end of the game, game 4, that is, and he didn't do it this time. I'm actually quite impressed.
Guys like this brace, huh? Guys like this cast, huh?
You make me sick.
Now look at 2023, LeBron's 3rd sweep. Out of these 16 expert pickers, 10 took Denver, 6 took LA. A pretty decent balance. But look at those 10 Denver picks, nobody said sweep,
Yeah.
nobody said Denver in 5. As out of the 10, 7 of them said it was going 7, and the rest said it would end in...
Yeah, in 2023, I totally did not anticipate a sweep, but it was the funniest thing I've ever seen.
6.
The reason I like the Lakers in this series is because I actually think this is a LeBron series.
James drives, gets inside, shot in and out, Davis, tip won't go. James directing traffic, 3-pointer.
Oh, the kick, that's the kick, the classic jump kick shot.
It's inside to James, stolen by Jokic.
The altitude won't be as big of a factor. I like the Lakers for tonight. I like the Lakers in 6.
I agree.
Now the final sweep, 2026, versus the OKC Thunder. Looking at this series, we all know it. LA's the underdog. They should lose.
This is how bad the NBA is right now, by the way. Before game 4, a buddy of mine was saying, nah, man, it's going to go 7 games. And I'm like, what are you talking about? You're saying they're going to come back and win the next 3? He's like, yeah, NBA's fixed. NBA wants LeBron to win. They're not going to let him get swept. And I'm like, damn. So that's the average basketball fan out there and their perspective. And no shade on my friend. I'm saying that's a bad look for the NBA.
But look at the expert pickers. Out of the 12 picks made, 11 of the 12 did not have a sweep happening. So looking at those 4 series right there for a 20-year period, what's the one common through line? Yes, LeBron's teams, the majority of fans, were not the favorites. What nobody saw coming was an outright sweep and a 4-0 beatdown. For you to lose in 4 games, that's an embarrassing flop, indictment on you, your team, as well as your leadership.
You suck!
Now, one thing I do want to do very quickly, looking at recent NBA legends, I'd say from 1990 onwards, the majority of legends, yes, have been swept, beat down in a series. But the important context is, compared to LeBron James, weren't beat down nearly as much or nearly as bad. For example, look at Michael Jordan. This guy's career twice was swept, 3-0 versus the Celtics, 86, as well as 87. Looking at Jordan at that point, year 2 and year 3 got beat down in the first round.
Yep.
So Jordan's career had 2 sweeps.
Yep.
LeBron's career has 4.
And literally that excuse of, he's still really young. It was literally his first 2 seasons in the NBA, guys. Now, I'm not going to make the excuse, but I'm just saying it, just look at it. Now, when we're talking about LeBron getting swept, what was it? Once in the 2000s, that one, you could say what you want. You could say, oh, he's young. Okay, fine. What about in the 2010s? Why did he get swept again in the 2010s? Exactly. And in the 2020s, he's definitely not young anymore, right, guys? Definitely not young in the 2020s. Why did he get swept twice in the 2020s?
Now look at
I'll tell you one thing. If MJ got swept in 1998 in the finals against the Utah Jazz, I wouldn't be saying he was young. I wouldn't be making excuses. I'd be saying, well, they got revenge. Utah got revenge on them. Is what it is. They lost. Don't need to make an excuse for it.
Total sweeps has 3, 98, 99, and 2011.
Yeah. Okay, hold up. Yeah, so good point out. You can't blame a bench player for the success or failure of a team. 99 against Spurs. So that's his first year as a starter. So that's the is he too young thing. And then 2011 versus Mavs. No, this was a big one actually. You're coming off of 2 championships, and then the Mavs steamrolled them, and then they steamrolled the Heat right after that. The Miami Big 3. That one turns into, I think, less of a what happened to Kobe, and it was more like, holy shit, the Mavs were on a mission,
Total sweeps has 3, 98, 99.
But even then, no excuse, They They were going for a three-peat, and they got steamrolled. And it is what it is. So if no excuses for LeBron and the big three Miami Heat, yeah, same ballpark for the two-time champs.
In 2011.
Or the back-to-back champs.
Series swept only 2, 96, and 91. The 91 series being best of 3.
Wow.
Then Tim Duncan, series swept, only has 2, 0-1 in 2010 versus the Suns, as well as Lakers. And last but not least, Shaquille O'Neal, the king of getting swept. This guy in his career 6 different times was swept out of the postseason in embarrassing fashion. That'd be 94, 95, 96, 98, 99, and 2007. Looking at Shaq right there, much like LeBron, that's what when he was young, in his prime, and old.
That's a lot of people don't remember that before Phil Jackson and Kobe basically like rose to power in LA, Shaq was getting swept. Shaq was getting his ass beat out there in the West.
Want to be a little more specific?
There's good and there's not good. This is not good.
For the overall comparison, looking at Shaq and LeBron James, I mean, they're eerily similar. Looking at both their games, what we saw primarily is physical dominance, overall athletic ability. Their ring count is 4, should be higher. Teams played for, multiple teams, has team hopped routinely. Looking at those stops, always has 1 All-Star, if not 2 All-Stars. Yep. Like we showed earlier, gets swept routinely and flame out in embarrassing fashion. For the Shaq vs. LeBron comparison, it should be made more often than it actually is. As again, looking at these two guys' career paths, it is eerily similar.
Did you guys see in the gone fishing image they used for LeBron? They used the typical, arms raised up. So like, arms raised up. Whoa! You know what I mean? Like, basically they used an image of him complaining to a ref. And I thought that was hilarious for the gone fishing picture.
And looking at Shaq's 6 sweeps, under his overall resume record, it happened, you can ignore it. It's a fact for Shaquille O'Neal. Now, for the very rare Shaq fan out there I do encounter, they won't make excuses, make caveats, say blame their teammates, their coaches, blame something else. For Shaq fans, him getting swept, they kind of have to own it. For LeBron fans, they're still not there.
Yeah, straight up. I'm a Shaq fan. I was a Shaq fan from when he was in LSU. I was a Shaq fan his whole career. I was mad when he came to Phoenix because it changed our whole outlook. But at the same time, I was a Shaq fan. I loved going to a game and seeing giant Shaq, the big Shaqness out there. However, all that being said, I can also be critical about him. Guy didn't bring his A game. You know what I mean? He did until he won. Once he won a championship, he stopped bringing his A game. And also, he is a center that is 1,000% dependent on having a great guard with him. If he doesn't have a great guard, he's not going to get very far himself. And most players don't, you can't do it all by yourself. But he specifically needs like an MVP caliber guard in order to possibly win a championship with, if that makes sense. Without that, he doesn't even stand a chance. So that's my critique on him. And yeah, he got swept a whole bunch of times in his career. No excuses for it either. Most dominant I've ever seen? Absolutely. Best center ever? Sorry, buddy. I don't think so.
Like I showed earlier, they'll blame coaches, teammates, everything under the sun but LeBron James. But here's the thing. Looking at a player's legacy in 10 years' time, 20 years' time, heck, 40 years' time. Your resume is your resume, and what happened is on it permanently. LeBron's career being swept 4 times, it happened, you cannot erase it. And here's one very damning fact. LeBron James, the so-called king of longevity, has been swept 4 times in 3 different decades. That in NBA history has never happened to anyone but LeBron James. As always, thank you guys for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. I'll see you next time.
Good stuff by Uncut, as always. Yeah, man. So that's going to be part 1 of this adventure. I'm not going to say too much heading out here because there's more to talk about with this before I'm done with this for the rest of the season. But that is a great point by Uncut because listen, when Shaq was getting swept, we all pointed the finger at Shaq. It is what it is. When Jordan got swept by Boston in his second year, even though he was scoring like an absolute monster, still, the narrative was Jordan can't get it done. like Jordan's not going to win a championship, but Jordan is the greatest individual player we might have ever seen. But the narrative in the media was maybe he's too selfish of a player, blah, blah, blah. An elite shooting guard, a scoring champion isn't going to win a championship. Like all these things are being said about Michael Jordan, even though in hindsight, we look back, his team was absolutely abysmal. But in the moment, no one was making excuses for him. If anything, they were like kicking him while he was down. Now, Shaq, same thing. No one was making excuses for him. When he got swept with against the Bulls in, 96? No one was making excuses for him. There's no excuse for what just happened there. Yeah, this is the 96 Bulls, but you just swept. You just beat these guys the last season. You can't win one game, Shaq. You know what I mean? Like, you can't pull off one win against the Bulls. Other teams did in the playoffs. They weren't unbeatable. They were just badass. You know what I mean? So it's always been weird to me why it's only been one player that gets these types of excuses, and it's always LeBron James. It's weird because fans, if you're a fan, when he loses, why can't you just say, yeah, he got beat and move on? Why can't you give credit to the people who beat him? You know what I mean? Instead of just making excuses. By doing that, you take the victor and you're bringing them down a level instead of giving them their props. If they win, they win. Like, I don't like saying it, but whenever I have to talk about the 93 NBA Finals, yeah, the Bulls beat my Suns. That was probably our greatest opportunity to ever win a championship in here, and it still hasn't happened, but that was it. What happened? We got our asses beat. Congratulations to Jordan and the Bulls. They did it. You know what I mean? Even there's controversial stuff, again, like the Steve Nash Suns versus the Spurs and everything that took place in there that prevented us from going to the NBA Finals. All that being said, I'm not going to sit here and act like the Spurs were not a freaking amazing team. The Spurs won. Did the refs help a little bit? Maybe. They definitely didn't make it a fair game at the end, but guess what? Even if we had a full lineup, we might have still lost because the Spurs team was that good. So I don't believe in just discrediting the victor because you want to cushion the fall for the loser. No, man. You lose, you lose. Same way, if you win, you deserve that respect. If you lose, you lose. We can't, I don't like this participation trophy stuff. I guess that's what it really comes down to. I don't like the participation trophy stuff because it waters down everything for the actual winner. If everybody's a winner, what was the point of me giving everything I had to get to the top of the mountain and be the champion? If, Joey over here, who only played 3 minutes this season and scored 0 points, if he's going to get the same award and trophy that I got, what the hell are we even doing here? Your team didn't win a game. Anyways, I'm out of here, guys. I'll see you on the next one. Thanks for watching. Please leave your comments down below, especially ones that say LeBron James and Bronny James are the first father and son duo to get swept in an NBA playoff series. I'd love to see it. All right, guys, I'm out of here. I'll see you in the next one, and be water, my friends.